us this time.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
I just went
You
for it.
revealed your secrets.
Yeah, I appreciate it because I can definitely feel like my tendons like swelling and sliding against each other as I move. It sucks.
You know, for some reason that makes me think of like some of the weird machine moving parts in Akira.
Ooh.
Kinda, yeah. It just,
Yeah, it makes me kind of think of that.
yeah.
Also, I edited the volumes a little bit. So,
Ooh.
like, even though I
Oh,
told
wow.
you we were recording, it's not actually accurately leveled till now, so no one will hear any of that. They'll just hear me explaining that I told you we were recording, but not me telling you that we were recording. That part's going to get edited out.
Right.
Damn, yeah, because the
So-
levels weren't correct.
So the levels weren't right. So I went in and I edited them while you were talking about me telling you that we were recording, but I'm going to edit out us talking about me telling you that we were recording, and they're just going to hear me
explaining
it. Yeah.
that they couldn't hear the part that you said that we were recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
then
he
we
actually
talked
told
about
us
that.
this time.
Yeah,
which is
he
wild.
told us, which is insane. Like, I did not know that could happen.
I'm sorry you guys missed it. But hi and welcome to Blank Bodies, a Vampire the Masquerade V5 tabletop and horror podcast. I'm your host, Hunter, and as always, I'm joined by...
John, over here.
And this is Sarah. I'm going to start off the episode with fuck Nazis.
Yeah.
I hate I have to say this more clearly. Unfortunately, due to recent events, I've had to pivot some of our script plans.
It was a good pivot.
It's a good pivot. Oh, I'm very upset. I'm very angry. Well, not upset. It's more just like, I don't know how better do I say this, but then, like, the first time I saw a clip of Elon Musk just doing a Zeke Heil, just the Doom soundtrack started playing in my head, like... And I went, oh, target acquired. Sick. Sick. Oh, that's where we are on the timeline now? All right, bet. So, hi, welcome to Blank Bodies Podcast. We're going to be talking about Vampires and Fascism this week. I don't know how I was going to handle the beginning of this, and I do apologize. But yeah, so due to a recent event, I feel it's irresponsible of me to not address that and how these events can be mirrored within stories and gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, because propaganda should be floating around in various media all over the place. And it's not like we don't have a whole section in the Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition core book that talks about fascism in play.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Great job, guys.
Thanks, Ruffalo Jax. You did good on that. So, hooray. I'm also going to be pretty upfront on the whole, there is no politics-free art. That includes gaming. If you think you're above that, you're wrong. That's just how it is.
Womp.
Yep. So these guys that complain about, like, I hate all this, like, woke shit, DEI, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you're literally doing a politics with your fucking crybaby bullshit. So, you know, welcome to the Thunderdome. Here we are.
2 men enter, 1 man leave.
Yes.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in.
I'm gonna beat you to death with a humanities stick. And this gun I found. I mean, no, not really. That's a joke.
Yes.
That's a bit. I'm actually
Sarah does not like guns.
Sarah's actually phobic of guns. It's very funny. Now I'm expecting if somebody's gonna troll us to just send me a photo of a gun going, are you gonna cry? And I'm like, no.
That's a cool gun.
I'm just like, cool, thanks for the reference photo. Anyways, all of this to say, and this is a creative arts person thesis I have had, which is games, through plot mechanics, can be used as a tool to simulate scenarios, demonstrate social expectations, and provide examples of the world, either for good or for ill. So using gaming, video games, tabletop games, we're telling stories with each other. And it's these stories that allow us to communicate things that we're like, hey, this is a cool thing to do, or no, that's a bad guy thing, don't do that.
Yeah.
And also, imagine worlds where things could be better.
Hopefully.
And then, practice doing the steps to make the world better.
Boop-a-da-boop.
It's almost
like making friends.
Yeah!
I like those.
Yeah, if you can be charismatic in a game, trust me, you can be charismatic in real life.
Mm-hmm.
It's like humans and many other species on the planet use play to practice skills for real-world applications. Wow.
I like that you're, like, getting buff about that.
Yeah, dude, like the bendy elbow, like, let's go. I don't have camp counselor energy. I'm trying really hard. I shouldn't be allowed to teach children things, despite the fact that I DM'd Morkborg for a child at PAX Unplugged.
Good.
Yeah, he was really into collecting teeth.
Hell yes, actually.
The terrors of the toothed child.
I like it.
But as responsible gamers that live in a community with a wide variety of people, I think it is our duty to understand what we are engaging with, who it affects, and the context that these elements exist in both inside and outside of the game. That's why we're talking about this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Huzzah. So now that I got the the nerdy reading rainbow-esque. Hey guys, this is why we're doing this. Hope you're strapped in. Hope we'll give some good information. If any of this makes you feel like I'm reading you to filth, you might need to do some introspection.
Boop-a-doop.
Boop-a-doop.
Check it out.
Yeah. Content warning, fascism and all the ickies that go along with that. There's so many icks that I'm like,
Yeah.
if this is a lot for your brain right now, I respect that. Hopefully you'll find the spoon, you'll come back and learn some things.
Let's go.
Let's go. So the sources for this week include In Frankenstein's Shadow, Myth, Monstrosity, and 19th Century Writing by Chris Baldick. Fascism by Roger Griffin. I do highly recommend that book. That's kind of like the magnum opus of somebody who's critically studied all the various forms of fascism. You're trying to understand what it is, how it proliferates, and the damage it can cause, and why it's bad, in fact. So highly recommend that book.
Hell yeah.
Got some video essays as well, which is also Fascism, an in-depth explanation by Ryan Chapman, Why Fascism is So Tempting and How Your Data Could Power It by Yuval Noah Harari, and also What is Fascism by the channel Horses.
Those are some smart horses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, honestly, I super recommend the Horses video. It's very in-depth in a very short amount of time. And it's also very well edited, so if you like a really good artistic aesthetic with your edutainment, super recommend that video.
Cool.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, I trust them a lot. Horses are one of the only animals other than humans that can count.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
It's because you watch the Ed the Horse TV show.
You can talk, too. Most horses can't do that, though.
Yeah.
God, we're gonna need these dumbass ha-has as we go through this. Okay, so... starting off, vampires as symbols. So vampires are monstrous characters in fiction that are used to discuss various types of fears and anxieties in all of the world and various cultures.
I feel like we've covered a lot of those in our episodes.
Yes.
Over 100.
Over 100 of
Yeah.
them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So kind of as a recap refresher, earlier Western fiction mostly focuses on vampires around concerns of death, illness, home invasion, foreign invasion, and sexuality.
I like that like all of those had the same weight at that point.
And as we have shifted from old-timey vampire stuff to modern and postmodern eras, vampire symbolism has shifted. Oh my god, things change over time. Wow. So vampires flux in modern text between being outright villains into like sympathetic anti-heroes. So narrative point of view switches from the vampire being an antagonist outsider force that's like a character that the main person in the book's having to deal with. You know, like in Bram Stoker Dracula. There's no Dracula POV. He's just a weird guy with a mustache. He throws mirrors out windows.
Yeah.
Which is my favorite part of the book. Where he's just like, no,
Get it out of here.
get it out of here. But yeah, in more modern tellings, the vampire character can be the first person, like protagonist characters. You're learning things from their perspective. The sexual revolution and queer liberation has opened up cultural doors for vampires to not only be seen as empathetic, but even relatable and maybe even desirable.
Ooh.
Which is why there's just 100 years of like, why is it sexy? Just like they're all sexy now.
All of them.
I started watching Castlevania Nocturne. That's like the new one.
Oh.
Oh my god.
Haven't seen it yet.
Oh my god.
Is it good?
It's really good.
Hell yeah.
And it's following Richter Belmont.
Oh.
Yeah. So they're in France.
Oh.
But goddamn, it's so good. It's so fucking good.
I like how you said that, like, it's in France, but it's good.
But it, yeah. Yeah, I said what I said. Better understandings of disease and death have also shifted our ability to empathize with vampire characters, seeing them as victims of circumstance as opposed to purely malevolent beings. Because we're not just like, oh, it's the bringer of death and plague, asterisk Robert Eggers Nosferatu. But that's set in 1830s for a reason, so.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're just like, there's a lot of, like, scientificizing vampire stuff where they're like, it's a virus, or, you know, yeah. Which, and again, there's a lot of vampire as a symbol for somebody with AIDS or other chronic illnesses, and
Yeah.
So, like, the illness ties are still there, but it can come in a couple of different fonts now.
Yay!
Which is neat.
Fonts.
Also, vampires have become much more potent political symbols, I would think, over time. So, anxieties about reverse colonization, foreign invasion, home invasion are still prevalent in today's society and have shifted around in some degrees compared to our predecessors. So, our modern fears stem from anxieties due to the war on terror, white supremacist fears around immigration from the global south, and white supremacist fears of backlash from centuries of horrific policies that have formed woke DEI and reparations. So it's kind of, when you look at earlier vampire media, and a lot of the fears are like, I'm afraid of a guy from Turkey, or, you know, Greece, swarthy people from the Orient, and by the Orient I meant just over there. Morocco is freaky. The
Eastern
Balkans.
Europe.
Yeah, Balkans, weird, wild place.
Can't handle it.
It's just magic and full of witchcraft. They don't understand how soap works. They're not civilized like us. Yes. Ignore the workhouses. It's fine. Colonization, don't know her.
I think they proudly did.
They proudly did. They were very into it. It was like their favorite thing. It was like colonization, tea.
I get it. It'd be fun to turn everyone into Colin. I know multiple cool Collins.
There are loads of cool Collins. This is not one of them, unfortunately. But yeah, there's been a lot of, in our unfortunate current political climate, a lot of people that are just like, I'm afraid of these immigrants from vaguely the South. They're coming here to steal our jobs, and they're not bringing their best. And I'm just like, you mean they're fleeing countries that we've been blowing up for decades? The fuck are you talking about?
They're scary.
I was like, I don't want them here. They're un-American. Like, this entire country's fucking immigrants. Like, the fuck are you? Is it crack? Though I did get a really good breakdown of, apparently later on in the inauguration, you can see Elon Musk's rolling his head and stuff. Because it looks like he's doing a combination of, like, ketamine and cocaine. Because, you know, if you're, like, on ketamine and you're seeing things, you kind of, like, stare off into space. So some people, to counteract the staring off into space, they'll also do coke. Allegedly, that's what he was doing, but I'm like, the evidence was like, yeah, I'm just saying. And yeah, but getting back to the sole point, the third thing that I find to be the most annoying is people having fears about shifting cultural issues, and there's a lot of people that feel uncomfy about society progressing to be more empathetic and chill. And they'll just screech about, you know, like, I don't like women in video games. Everything has to, you know, appease the blacks or whatever weird shit they're freaked out about.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, so you're afraid of, like, people next to you having a good time?
Yes! I'm afraid of it.
Or, you know, my favorite was recently all the shit with Witcher 4. They're just like, Ciri can't be a Witcher. I'm like, that's been the arc of
The
all
whole
the games!
time!
And they're like, she's not hot. And I'm like, that woman was gorgeous. What the fuck are you? Yeah, they're saying some of these weird chud fucks were saying she's too masculine, and they can't believe what they did to her. And I'm like, you mean she did some push-ups? You're afraid of a woman that has shoulders?
She has to swing a sword at monsters.
Yeah.
Swords really, well, they're like 4 pounds.
Yeah,
three to 4 pounds a lot of the time.
Those
That doesn't-
Witcher swords are huge.
Well, I'm saying, like, even the big ones really don't weigh as much as you might think, but
Having the force to, like, cleave
exactly.
monsters in twain.
Yes. You got to be strong to swing them around. You got to be fit to swing them around.
Look, if you're not man enough to handle a woman in armor, that's a you problem. It's like, pathetic.
Hell yeah.
So I think having these kind of cultural fears are very analogous to some of the fears that have happened in previous generations and are things that could be expressed in vampire media and could be done in a, oh, cool, this is a great way to, like, break it down and discuss it critically. And there's ways where it could be done where it's like, oh, no. So hopefully we can all avoid the ick. Also, vampire symbolism has been applied to class struggle, which is not a thing that we are dealing with currently at all. I say staring off into the middle distance. So, early works in Western vampire fiction typically set their vampire villain as some sort of aristocrat. It's not only just showing, the tyrannical powers of money and power, but also showing, the fears of times gone by, linking past, present. We have a gothic horror episode coming soon, so I won't. That will be soon. You can listen to that rant there. But common theme in the past. Friedrich Engels, for those who don't remember, he was best buds with the communism man.
The communism man.
I'll get to it in a minute. So Friedrich Engels picked up on this kind of pop culture use of vampire motifs that were happening in the Gothic literature of his day and went, I can use this as a symbolism for my academic work, and was first used in The Condition of the Working Class in England, where he started using vampires as a metaphor for the bourgeoisie.
Good stuff.
This, Karl Marx went, that's cool. That's neat. So he picked that up. And then just, if you read a bunch of Karl Marx shit, he's such a Gothic literature fanboy, and he's just constantly sticking in references and using them as metaphors to explain his, political theories. Once you notice it, it's very funny.
Awesome.
You're just like, this man is just using pop culture to explain his shit.
Oh, that's a good way to do it, I guess.
Yeah. So it's like, that's kind of neat. And pop culture has continued to this kind of a feedback loop of using vampires to symbolize the upper class and their abuses through film, television, novels, podcasts, video games, TTRPGs, etc.
Yeah.
Common thing. And vampires, as this kind of symbol, still carry out in academic circles as well. I would like to point to the work of Mark Fisher of Escaping the Vampire Castle, which is a really good essay if you're a lefty person that is like, I want to do good things, but I feel like I'm constantly getting hit over the head with the I'm not good enough purity stick. It's a cathartic essay. Definitely recommend that shit.
Cool.
It's also digestible.
Mm-hmm.
I read it, whereas I tried to read Capital once, and it stayed one sitting. And then that is a thick book and very dense. But
yeah,
the other one, even a dummy like me can read, so.
Yeah, as I say, I definitely recommend Mark Fisher if you're ever interested in expanding some of your knowledge on things. So, that's all the vampire setup. Now we're going to get to the fascism setup. I'm sorry, everyone. But I think it's good things to know. It's good things to have in the back pocket, not just as a citizen of the world, but also if you're writing stories with more mature themes, this shit's going to come up at some point. You should know what you're getting into. So, what is fascism? Unfortunately, there isn't really a widely accepted definition, which is a pain in the ass. So, a lot of scholars have their own personal takes, but due to the nature of the ideology being flexible in the context of the nation it stems from, and the lack that the ideology values static truth, nailing anything down in simple terms is pretty much impossible. I'm gonna share a couple of examples that I thought sounded the best, and hopefully it'll carry us through the episode. If anybody has any other resources or better ideas, please share them with us. I'm happy to take in more input. So, the first definition is from Roger Griffin from his fascism book. This is kind of the gold standard definition that most people will go to.
Okay.
So, fascism is the political ideology whose mythic core in its various permutations is a palingenetic, which basically means rebirthed, form of populist ultranationalism.
Got it.
Kind of a fancy way to say what the fuck it is. But this is a thick book that's kind of steeped in academia, so it's going to be a lot of $100 words.
Yeah.
So, a shorter definition that I got from Ryan Chapman that I like is fascism is the ideology of blood and soil.
Okay.
So, he goes on to elaborate, for fascists, we think with our blood of our nation. The blood of our nation runs through our veins, and it is through that blood that we think.
Okay.
It's going to be a lot of circular logic for the next several minutes, guys. I'm really sorry. So, he continues on. So, fascism is basically a hive of people imagining themselves bound together by the blood of their nation and surrendering their critical thinking skills and instead dutifully thinking whatever they are told the nation thinks.
Okay.
Does that seem to at least correlate with, the dumb shit we've kind of bumped into, where it's just kind of you're talking madness, my dude, and I want to know how you got from A to B to C.
Because you're at, W right now.
And I don't know what the fuck's
And I
going
didn't
on.
even hear half the alphabet in that.
Yeah. So, hopefully with the next few steps, if you're not fully on board with where this is going, hopefully we'll get there and it'll make a little bit more sense.
I found a good simple one that
Oh,
I'd
what'd
like
you
to
get?
share too. I think
Yeah.
this one is just straight from Merriam-Webster.
Oh, yeah, what you got, my dude?
But it's fascism, a populist political philosophy, movement, or regime that exalts nation and often race above the individual.
I like that one too. Hell yeah.
It goes on for about a paragraph more, but I think
Yeah,
that
no,
right
you're
there
good.
is...
I had the problem that the video essayist Ryan Chapman had brought up, and I agree with it, is a lot of definitions that you'll find in academic or encyclopedias for fascism tend to just not actually give a definition. They just start describing fascist Italy and fascist Germany. So they just start describing World War II, and they don't really give a definition, because there's a lot of very unfortunate regimes that will use fascist tactics, but won't automatically, but they haven't like outrightly declared themselves officially as fascist, like, fascist Italy did. So you get dumb fucks that are like, well, I don't know if it's really fascist. It's it's only fascist if it comes from the specific region of Italy and Germany. Otherwise, it's like sparkling totalitarianism.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just like, no, that's not how. God damn it! I want to throw you into the sun. I hate Schrodinger's comedian. It's fucking because of this shit. That's why I hate it so much.
Yeah.
But hopefully, if I go through a little bit of the explanations of how the originating like thought processes of fascism comes around, you can kind of get how we got to why it's so circular logic-y. So, fascism basically comes from these really, really early ideas about mass media that kind of started in the late 1800s, early 1900s, especially with radio and film and television starting to become more of a thing. And it buttresses off of political ideologies going around at the time as well. I wouldn't say fascism is inevitable given certain circumstances, but it is a political ideology that really latched onto mass media and like collectivism and collective thinking. And weaponize the shit out of it in ways where you're just like, oh no. So a big source that fascists cite is the philosopher George Sorel, and he believed in that basically the Marxist revolution couldn't actually happen without including sociology in with class and economic consciousness. So being able to understand like how societies work as a wider breadth and not just like class and not just like the material conditions. So he's kind of like picking up where like Marx left off and was like continuing on into the 20th century. Sorel's got a bunch of really interesting ideas. Unfortunately, because of the way people took his ideas and went, what if I just do a bunch of genocide? And everyone's like, I don't know about Sorel. And I'm like, no, Sorel's fine. It's not his fault. It's kind of the same thing with Nietzsche. Nietzsche, I wouldn't say is inherently fascist, but unfortunately, fascists took his ideas and went, that's neat. What if I used it for my own shit? And it's like, oh, God damn it.
Yeah. It's
So,
the like ice cream with a little bit of shit in it scenario.
yeah, we're just like, you had ice cream, and then some guy came over and just like sneezed on it,
Right.
and then he just took your ice cream.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
I was gonna say, I don't think I'd heard the poop ice cream analogy.
Yeah, so you
before.
got like so if you have a bowl of shit and you put a little bit of ice cream on it, you just have a bowl of shit with a little bit of ice cream, right? But if you have a bowl of ice cream and you put a little bit of shit in it, well, now you just have a bowl of shit.
Yeah.
Okay. I
So
see
the
your
Nazis were
logic.
like, "This is neat," and
This
once
is
they
neat.
said "this is neat," you're just like, "Well, fuck, man."
Yeah, just God damn it. So, George Sorel's beliefs kind of lead to this idea, well, kind of, but they do lead to this idea of the mobilizing myth, which is stories that contain the strongest inclinations of a people, ideas that they would hold above reproach and cherish. So, if you want to get a people motivated to do something, you have to give them something to look forward to or something to strive for, which is why, to use modern politics, like the Obama campaign went so well because he was actually selling a future where it's
Right.
like, hey guys, we can be chill and cool and, have rights and shit and, maybe have an economy.
Right.
And then, other people that ran on the DNC didn't do that and then were surprised. Like a full surprise Pikachu. We're like, oh shit, they didn't show up to vote for me?
I'm confused.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, no shit. No fucking duh.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, marketing campaigns, political campaigns, various other things. If they're going to get you to participate in something, they need to give you an ideology or some sort of story for you to go and like, yeah, that's the thing I want to do. Once you're kind of aware of this concept, you start noticing it a lot more and you go, oh.
Yeah. Having gone to college partially for advertising, it's pretty easy. You need a tight sales pitch. You need like how will this improve your life, no matter what the product is really.
Yeah.
Like it could be a different brand of soap. This is how this soap will make your future brighter instead of using Dawn. My soap does this instead.
Yeah. Can tell you the idea of like, you know, having cleanliness or having better health or like a certain aesthetic or vibe.
Or selling or saving money or smelling better.
Yeah.
Could be simple as that.
Yeah. There's tons of ways that this can be done and does not necessarily have to be nefarious. Unfortunately, there are nefarious people that went, I like this idea. What if I used it to put all your friends in a cage? And I'm like, which you didn't.
I'd really like them to not be in the cage, actually. I can't hang out with them if they're in the cage.
Not effectively.
No.
Yeah. So basically, fascists took this core concept and then twisted any Marxist thoughts out of it and towards their own concepts of revolution. So, kind of a thing with politics a lot of people don't realize is fascists do have some ties with like socialists and Marxists, but it's not in a like the way people try to sell it, where they're like socialists are fascists. I'm like, no. Both like Marxist, Leninist, and like fascist do have that core belief of society needs a revolution to like make things better and have things like run, because liberal democracy and like conservative democracy have failed. They're not working. We don't like this. They just have very different ideas on how that should be done and what purpose.
And what happens after.
Yep. So keep that in mind, please. It's like they are very divergent. You ever see a tree branch and those like branches like fork off away from each other like so hard? Yeah. It's like they have some core, like they've come from a similar area, but they're very different.
I don't know if this is a good time for a rant or not, but it seems it's something that I'm tired of seeing like half the argument. And I understand people are upset. We've been through a lot politically in the last couple of years. But statistically, the reason the election went the way it did is because men largely didn't feel motivated to vote. So if we are to have a successful political movement of any way, the left really needs to start pushing a future that is positive for men. Not white men, not rich men, not poor men. Men in general need to be offered and shown a future in the left that will benefit them. Simply and forward. That's it.
Yes.
That's how we get more votes. That's how we get the demographic that we are currently missing.
Yeah. Also, you know, the youth. And I'll get to the fucking youth.
The fucking youth.
The fucking youth.
Goddamn kids.
There's a reason I'm doing that. Fascists tend to find Marxism flawed due to its internationalism and confrontation between the working and the capitalist class. Because, you know, if you're working with other nations, you're not working on the nation, like your specific one. And if you're having confrontations between the working and the capitalist class, that's conflict that is getting in the way of the nation.
Right.
So, don't like that. Fascists find liberal democracy flawed due to its individualistic nature, rationalism, and personal liberties. That John blinked a lot.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you know, because if you're being individualistic,
don't think.
Yeah, don't think.
Don't think.
Well, yeah,
don't do it.
Yeah, because if you're thinking for yourself as an individual, that's going to get in the way of perpetuating the good of the nation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
And then fascists also fucking hate conservatism. They don't like it. Because they find it flawed due to the individualistic nature of conservatism, because it's also kind of depending on the kind of conservatism, it does use a lot of principles that liberal democracies also have, where it's like personal liberties and freedom, like you're your own man.
Right.
Kind of shit.
This is my house.
And conservatism also lacks the ability to just adjust their needs towards what the needs of the state are. because conservatism tends to be in a, we have a system, the system works. If you actually just fucking followed the system, everything would be fine. But, you know, fascists don't believe that. And they're just like, you're in the way, old man. Things are clearly broken and I need to make it better.
Sure.
And it's just like, yeah, so it is its own fucking political fork. If anyone tries to tell you otherwise, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
They're trying to sell you something.
Yeah, probably.
And it probably stinks.
Yeah, so instead, fascists focus on their myth-making to be centralized on the nation. I'm saying the nation TM because it doesn't have to necessarily be a white nation or a specific Euro nation. Fascism is a political philosophy that can be kind of popped into any kind of a national setting.
Right.
And so how portions of that manifest will depend on that kind of cultural context. So going forward, I will just be saying the nation.
The nation.
Hopefully that doesn't confuse people. If it does, I guess I'll die then. So.
Oh no.
Well,
nationalism.
try not to do that part.
Yeah, I'm trying my best.
Okay. All right. Cool. Just keep it up.
Yeah. So nationalism, which was a fun idea that came up in the 1800s, 1700s, 1800s, because, you know, it was just the cool and trendy thing to do. Got hijacked and basically mystified in a way to sell the feeling of the nation, which creates a unifying myth that is sold with hyper passion towards a general audience through mass media. That's their big thing. So, I have a quote. Who wants to read it?
I don't want to read any quotes in this episode.
Hunter, do you want to, or are you just going to leave it to me?
I scanned forward and I see who said it now, and I don't want to... Okay, sorry, Hunter.
No, I'm fine with that. Please clip this and credit it to me.
Oh, God, no!
No!
Thank you. We have created our myth. The myth is a faith, a passion. It's not necessary for it to be a reality. It is a reality in the sense that it is a stimulus, is hope, is faith, is courage. Our myth is the nation. Our myth is the greatness of the nation. And to this myth, this greatness, which we want to translate to total reality, we subordinate everything else. Benito Mussolini, 1922.
Yeah, he said that in a speech. Out loud, full chest. If you think that's wild, I suggest you spend some time looking into the Italian Futurists. That was a artistic movement, which I do like a lot of the art and design. They were all fucking fascists. Damn. And there were a lot of people that would get really hopped up on coffee and sometimes cocaine. And then they would have these rambling meetings and write these really energetic manifestos about trying to, do things to uplift the nation. And we got to do things now and with action and mechanization. And it's some wild shit if you ever want to read it. But there's a direct through line through that community into this shit. And then you watch this. And then how it goes into Germany, it's a whole thing. But there's also loads of fascist political parties around this time in the post-World War I era, so it wasn't just the two fascism classic groups of people we think of. So, these myths tend to focus around some sort of glorious past, whether this is real or imagined. And this glorious past must be returned to due to it being stolen by some common enemy.
Just one of them. Yeah,
this is just the most common form of the national myth. There's probably examples of some other version of it, but this is kind of, fascism classic.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you can hear the TM in the tone of my voice. So.
Technical machine?
Mm-hmm. So the myth of the nation works as a kind of religion where the nation is the religion and that everything must be sacrificed for. These myths tend to focus upon a class of elites that serve the nation, and the populace follows to serve the nation in turn. It is inherently hierarchical.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who says otherwise is the kind of people that get sucked up into MLMs, and they're like, no, I'm an independent contractor. And I'm like, uh-huh.
How much money have you made this year?
Yeah, how many people got in your downline?
Mm-hmm.
So, the goal of fascists is to have unity between the populace and the nation, with individuals being subordinate to the needs of the state, which those needs are determined by the fascists.
Great.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you want, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Do you want to try reading this other quote, or no? Got one other quote for you.
I can do this one, too, if you really need me to.
Skipper's just like, nope.
Hold on.
Nope.
What the fuck? Okay. No pity is to be shown to those who occupy the lower categories of the inferior groups. This bottom category means destruction and death, weighed and found wanting. Trees which do not bear fruit should be cut down and thrown into the fire. That's a memo from some Nazi official, Nazi official fascism by Roger Griffin. It's specifically on page 60. Yeah. That's not my quote. Don't credit it to me.
No, yeah, it's in the book, but he's citing a memo that was actually found. They're talking amongst each other.
So you're quoting a quote.
Quoting a quote.
Quoting a quote.
Yeah.
How quotable.
Oh.
So, violence and glorifying war are common and active tactics used in gaining power both internally within the nation and externally once the nation is unified. This violence is seen as therapeutic and the right of those of the nation to enact against those who are not of the nation. If anybody else is starting to hear doom music in their own heads, I'm like, yep, me too, buddy. It's okay. We're doing the Blank Bodies classic where I start with kind of fun. I have us go through the trenches, and then there's a treat at the end. I promise you.
I like treats.
There's a treat at the end. So, due to the desire for revolutionary violence, fascists tend to put more efforts into recruiting and uplifting men and the youth. Which is why a lot of fascists, most fascists, very misogynistic, and they're very focused on protecting the kids and making sure that they have a future to live for.
Yeah, so they can get shot at school.
Yeah, well, we had to protect the children from the degenerates.
So they can get shot at school.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they were worthy of,
If they're getting shot at school, it's easier to sell them on a better future.
Yeah.
Well, if they were worthy of a better future, they wouldn't be at a school with guns and violence.
Makes sense.
That's why they're trying to push for all the privatizing of education. I'm trying to not go on an unhinged rant. I'm trying. I tried to focus all that energy into the script because I'm like, I have a lot of energy.
I already had one. And then that last part kind of just backed up what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
That the struggle is advertising to men and children. We need to stop spending so much energy preaching to the choir. It's fine informing each other.
It's one of those, okay, it's not so much a needing to advertise to hashtag the men specifically. I think having a more egalitarian actual future that we can all participate in is what actually should be more pushed for. And that includes men and women of all various stripes, colors, queer, not queer.
Yeah.
We live in a society that we should all participate in. We have enough resources and everything for everyone. We don't need to do it this way. The points are made up, guys. We could just change it. We could just do something different. Anyways, so it's...
I understand the fun and the joke of we're pushing for a gay liberal future. You need to include everyone if you want it to be effective.
Yeah. There's also just a lot of...
Like gay people or queer people, non-binary people, minorities are all part of the everyone group.
Yes.
But we need to make it the everyone group. Yeah. And there's been a lot of annoying people online. I know our listeners are smarter than that.
There's a lot of annoying people online. And there's also a lot of people that have a lot of privilege. And there's a lot of people that have a lot of introspection and growing up that they need to do, that need to actually take responsibility for. And some of that is hashtag the men, just in aggregate, but that also devolves into just everyone is hurt under patriarchy, both women, non-binary, or both. By both, I mean the entire spectrum of gender.
Yeah.
Everybody is harmed under the system of patriarchy, which is something that fascists weaponize.
One thing that I would like to recommend here for this discussion, I've talked about it, I think, on the show before.
Yes.
But I think it really ties into what we're talking about here, and especially like how politics have affected quote unquote men and masculinity and what it means to be a man. Go check out Brad Tromell. I believe it's free to watch right now. If not, get a hold of me, I can get it to you. But it's called the Funko Report, and he basically tracks the rise of the Funko Pop and the politics alongside of them, and ties a line between how Funko Pops and masculinity have like kind of hand in hand advanced us from like the early 90s to now.
Huh, that's interesting.
Weird.
Yeah. I this is not entirely a divergence because it does tie into just a lot of the fascism bullshit, but fascists will weaponize preconceived ideas around masculinity because it is a very convenient way for them to rile up a bunch of dudes, particularly if they're young, like disaffected, alienated dudes, where it's like, hey man, you're getting fucked over because of like late stage capitalism and old men's baggage from 200 years ago. Like, your sense of self-worth should not be predicated on your ability to bring in a fucking income. Like, I was like, dudes, you are worth more than that as a person. As much as, like, my ability to exist and function as a femme-presenting person in this world should not be predicated on how fuckable I am.
Right.
Like, yeah, both sides of that, like, interaction is batshit insane. I'm like, you have value as a person because you exist on this planet. Full stop. No comma, no notes, no ands, no buts. You exist on this planet. You deserve water, food, shelter, and education, and the ability to, like, pursue a fucking life.
That'd be neat.
Yeah! And these fuckheads that we're talking about do not believe in that in any way, shape, or form, and that's why I will, put my name on this on the internet to be flat out like, this is like fucking, these are the days that George Strummer was teaching us about, like prepping us for it. I'm like, all right, it's time to go. Fuck you guys. So, I'm trying, goddammit. So, where was I? Yeah, fascism tends to reject the ideas of a classless society and personal liberty economically, with big business and corporations being uplifted if they support the nation, along with any other economic policy being used or rejected depending on how well they service the nation. Which is where sometimes people get fucked up, where they're like, well, the Nazis are National Socialists. And I'm like, they're not socialists. But they're like, yeah, but they had all these programs. I'm like, yeah, they don't give a shit. Fascists don't give a fuck about any particular economic policy. They just want whatever works for whatever batshit idea they think's gonna go. So if the fascists think that dumping a bunch of money into Meta and letting Elon Musk do whatever the fuck he's doing with SpaceX or whatever, they think that's what's going to push the economy, they're going to do it. If the fascists think that saving TikTok is going to service them, they're going to do it. You know, they're gonna give a bunch of fucking tax cuts to wealthy people because they think that's gonna help the economy, and then when that shoots them in the ass, they're gonna cut a bunch of fucking checks, and Trump's gonna sign his name on it in huge fucking letters so that you know he did that for you.
Yep.
So yeah, this is batshit. There's no rhyme, no reason. They will just do whatever they think will fucking work. So I don't want to hear any of this. Like, well, sometimes a clock is right, like broken clock's right twice a day. I'm like, no, this is not a clock that we are dealing with, my guy. Like, no.
If you really want to know about the Nazis' financial plans and how all that actually happened, I'm going to recommend another podcast. It has unfortunately ended now, but they're putting all their past episodes up for free, all their Patreon episodes. It's great. It's called Program to Chill. It was hosted by Jimmy Fallon Gong. But their episodes 7 through 11 are just called Who Financed Hitler? It's basically a very long deep dive into how they actually made that work. Everything from Henry Ford to them incorporating the Socialist Party just so that they could steal their money to all kinds of stuff. So go check that out.
Yeah.
If you really, really want to know their economic policy, which is mostly theft and donations.
Scams.
Yeah.
Fucking grifting. Scams. It's just scams all the way down.
Weird.
So, fascism teaches its adherents to view themselves as not only the most valuable, but the most beautiful beings in the world. Everything else is theirs to use or destroy as they see fit. Which is extra annoying in the days of fucking global warming. Where they're just like, yeah, just keep drilling for oil and cutting trees and fuck it.
I mean, it's yours, right?
Yeah, do what you want. Fucking... the goddamn
I like trees.
I love trees. And then you get the weird Christo-fascists that are just like, but if we fuck it up enough, Jesus comes back. And I'm just like, no.
I think that's the opposite
That's
of what
the
you
opposite.
wanted.
That's the opposite of what your book says. That is literally the opposite of what your book says. But you're a fascist, so, like, there's no logic train here. You just have a vague feeling about shit, and that's just what reality is to you. Fuck off. I hope you feel bad. Good.
Yes.
No pillow should ever be cool for you, ever. Fuck off. So I have another quote. Who wants to read it?
I guess it's my turn.
It is your turn.
All right.
Oh, man. You want the spray for this one?
Oh, yeah.
And
Is this the empty? No, this is the good
Oh, it's
spray.
the good one. He getting sprayed up.
Obviously, if you guys are pushing for the spray, this must be a highly respectable quote. Something of great importance. I didn't look at what it was. I just heard you laugh when I said it's my turn. So.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm with bated breath.
All right. Every thought and every idea, every doctrine and all knowledge must serve this program, and everything must be examined from this point of view and used or rejected according to its utility. Adolf Hitler, Mein Kampf.
I'm not saying y'all need to read Mein Kampf, don't. But
I
sometimes
think I did in high school.
Yeah. It's one of those understanding passage. You can literally just drop the book randomly, open any page, and just understanding just like this man's crazy. Holy shit.
There are 3 times that I have tried to read important political books in my life, and I have never finished one of them.
So it was Capital.
It was Capital, Mein Kampf, and
Please don't say it was the fucking...
it's the Ayn Rand one that talks about trains all the time.
Oh, no, you throw that away. I'm sorry. I fucking... Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that book. I'm sorry. There's just like a whole plot line. I don't give a fuck about spoiling. It's like a whole plot line in that book where the lead character, the hero, rapes his love interest, and then she's cool with it afterwards for no reason. And I'm like, fuck this book. I was trying to read it just because it was high school, and I wanted to argue with these dumb chud fucks and explain to them why their book was bad. I got to that page and I threw it across the room and said, never ever again.
I think that's a little bit of the author's fetish, getting into their work.
I fucking...
That's the way it reads anyway.
Yeah, I'm just like, girly pop, you can't sit here and like argue these like libertarian self-determination ideas and then like have that be her response to that kind of an assault. If you're actually going to follow on with your libertarian ideas, the second that she was able to escape that situation, she should have gotten a shotgun, shot his dick off, and then him in the head.
I'd rather just play BioShock than read that book.
BioShock's not even well written, but it's better written than
anything Ayn Rand's ever done.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think I also, because it was on a list of books I could read for class, I think I also attempted to read The Fountainhead.
Yeah.
By her. And that one's not important or interesting.
I know that there was a really shitty movie series done based around The Fountainhead somewhat recently.
Everyone hated it.
Yeah.
Like, even, like, conservatives and libertarians, I think, were kind of just like, this is boring. Because it's a terrible fucking book.
So, continuing on, fascists will say anything and do anything that brings about the greatness of the nation. Art, culture, and education all come down to how does this help showcase the glory of the nation? If it does not, it must be removed. Which is where you get all those lovely book burnings.
Right.
And, like, re-education camps and, like, destroying of, decades of research. And, the Gallery of the Degenerate. I don't know if you guys ever heard about that. So, Nazi Germany, fun fact, did not get rid of all of the queer or Jewish or like multinational art. They gathered it all and they put it into this little museum called the Gallery of the Degenerate so that they could like have other Nazis come in and just like gawk at like just the quote unquote like weird and grotesque and horny art. And then they would have a little gallery at the end where it was like the actually good, proper, like classical Aryan, whatever the fuck art that they're trying to propagate as like the good thing. And it kind of just became this like circus event because people are just like, I want to go look at the sculpted titties. Which I'm like, yeah, because titties are cool.
Titties, but they're rocks? What?
Yeah. I I've had to read so much about the gallery of the degenerate because art school just constantly it comes up, and I'm like, yeah. It's just why I get kind of sus when people like gather like art and images and they go, "That's weird. Isn't that like degenerate and strange? Like, why?" Anytime somebody starts doing that more than like 2 times, I'm like, "Where's this going, bud? Why are you ostracizing this form of art specifically? Like, if you don't like it, that's fine. Have an actual critique about it instead of just being like, oh, the vibes are sus." I'm like, why is it sus? What do you mean it's sus? Can you cite why? Do you understand? No, you're just saying it's weird? Why are you just saying it's weird? I get a little GI robot about it. I'm just like, that's what a Nazi would say. But me moving on from Sarah's concerns and paranoias within the arts field. To perpetuate the myth of the nation, aesthetics through design, art, and symbols are weaponized to further draw on the emotions and create a political religious experience to unify the populace as one with the nation. That's the thing that's annoying with fascists, and it drives me insane when people are like, the Nazis had such good fashion design. I'm like, I wouldn't say it's good or bad in so much as like they had a really strong aesthetic and they worked really hard to go for that aesthetic for a reason. So when things in trends go through like aesthetic cycles, I think it is sometimes important to pay attention to when people are tying in aesthetics with a political thought, trying to figure out what the fuck that means and like, where's this going? And because that's something you see with like MAGA a lot. They have very specific aesthetics and trends and like points that they hit over and over and over and over again. A lot of it is the most garish, fuck awful, like America, oorah flags. The worst kind of flags. Though for the design thing I find interesting is over the years, their aesthetic has kind of shifted a little bit. So it's gone from just full red, white, and blue to now it's becoming like blue and white. And you get the kind of the same thing that gets repeated where they're like minimalizing and like streamlining the design stuff, which is where you get like the Blue Lives Matter, like the thin blue line flag and the various other kind of like stripped down monochroming. That's a big thing with Western fascists. They really like to strip down monochrome a lot. Like the Nazis did that too, but their palette was red, white, and black.
Right.
Which was a purposeful design choice to counteract the Weimar flag, which was had gold in it. And they were like, no, we're getting rid of that shit.
No gold.
No gold. Only colors of blood and violence.
Brr.
Brr. And in our contemporary design stuff, blue is read as a very masculine color. And if they're trying to perpetuate like a society of violence, they're going to want to masculinize designed things. I'm like, it's being done for the purpose. Hi guys, I'm constantly screaming in my own head. It's fine. So modern fascists continue to practice this with their myths and interests being simplified in their concepts of the nation. While the nation is still used with it is with fascism classic, the rise of multinational corporations and the lack of separation between corporation and state has caused the conflation of companies and the nation, which has been a much newer thing that's kind of been chunked in. It's a big problem in America because, corporations can vote with money, apparently, because apparently money is speech.
Yep.
I'm trying to behave, guys, I promise.
Gestures at building. That building's a person. Only as long as it's inhabited by.
Yeah.
Good name.
I like that Walmart has more rights than I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great time. So, so along with this conflation of the corporation and the state, there's been shifts where data is being used as the means of power within politics as opposed to land and industry with like our parents and grandparents' generations. So the fascists are seeking to centralize and or streamline or get to peak efficiency with data processing under their control. And that's something that is deeply concerning. I don't have good answers. I don't have as much information on this as I would like. This is something I'm still kind of putting together. This shit is why I wanted to have this episode later in the fucking year. So I'd have time to actually like read and process and have some fucking ideas and like, oh yeah, this is what's going on in the real world. Here's how you can do some like analogous things with this in the game and shit. But I couldn't do that because apparently Elon Musk is fucking just autistic
Sure. Okay.
No.
But not in the nice way we usually talk about it.
God, what was the joke we had at lunch, which was like, yeah, he's autistic, he's into trains.
It's what he wants to do with the train.
It's what he wants to do with the trains, that's the problem. I hate it. Makes me mad. And then a bunch of people are just like, no, it's fine that he's doing this. That's fine that we're having, like, these, like, hordes of fucking, like, tech bros that are just trying to, like... I'm gonna quote Bo Burnham, roughly. But he's had several good, like, interviews and talks about how he's bothered by the fact that so many corporations, and it seems countries, because we have basically explored all of the planet, and there's not really, like, spaces to colonize... The things that they are trying to, like, colonize and delve into to, like, just keep making the line go up is your mental space, your personal data, like, your time and attention.
Right.
Like that. So, you know, to collect data. And there's, like, all these pushes with these tech bros to build these, like, very gigantic, centralized, like, data centers and shit like that. Yeah, we're at the point now in the script where I was just like, I have this information. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what to think about it entirely outside of just like, well, that's happening.
You know what? Vampires and Fascism, Part 2, coming later in the year.
Probably, yeah. There'll be some follow-ups on that. So.
Watch out for that, everybody.
But note I wanted to share because I thought this was like an interesting point brought up by Thing. I'll actually read this one since you guys have been nice enough to read the other quotes, unless John really wants to read it.
Go for it.
All right, cool. So, fascism exploits our vanity. It makes us see ourselves as far more beautiful than we really are. This is the seduction. But if you really know yourself, you will not fall for this kind of flattery. If someone puts a mirror in front of you that hides all of your ugly bits and makes you see yourself as far more beautiful and far more important than you really are, just break the mirror.
I like that.
Yeah. I'm not saying you aren't a valuable person and you don't have some cool parts, but if somebody's coming up to you going, it's like, you know what, you're truly great. You're actually special. You're in on this, like, secret because you understand the truth. Like that weird QAnon shit. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, yeah. And if somebody starts going, no, you are the only one that knows, like, the actual truth and can save America and the children. Like, I'm just like, oh, you're crazy. You're selling me something.
Well, unless they're addressing me. Because then they're right.
God damn it, John. John, what are we yelling
hold
about?
On, no.
Get escape. So, how do these factor into gameplay? I'm sorry we went through all of that to get here.
It's called learning.
Learned.
So, vampires can function as great symbols as either fascistic powers themselves or threats to fascistic powers. Mm-hmm. I think this can go both ways in the media landscape that we exist in currently.
Like Blade.
Yeah! Various other things. I mean, freaking Daybreakers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that covers, like, both sides of the paradigm. So, within World of Darkness, more specifically, I believe all sects are capable of falling into fascistic practices. I have some interesting theories about ShrekNet, given the data thing that's been happening in our IRL world, and I think it kind of parallels in a way that's interesting. Because ShrekNet was not a centralized data hub, it was servers and places all over the globe, and it was a very loose network held by the Nosferatu, and that they allowed, like, other people to access and interact with it. If the Camarilla is being portrayed as becoming very insular and trying to, like, restructure and, like, solidify their power, if we're switching from power going from land and the such, and it's going to data, younger folks in the Camarilla would immediately, like, try to snap up all of that kind of data. So I think if there were younger folks in the Camarilla that could see the writing on the wall, they may have, like, pushed to be like, okay, we have to cut the Nosferatu basically off at the knees and take this from them, so then that way we are the ones that can control all of these data centers.
Right. That kind of also puts a dot on the whole, like, they're using the masquerade for, like, don't use phones, don't, like, communicate with each other in that way or anything like that.
Yeah, you're getting your information through us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's an interesting plot point that could be explored. I don't know what to do with that, but it's kind of one of those, like, I saw that and we're like, wait a second, red string board, hold on a second. What if people high up in the Camarilla were like, I need to be able to control the data because I can see what's coming down the pipeline. If I can control information, therefore I'm able to control the economy and politics. Like if I have the data, I've got keys to the kingdom. I have everything. So eat mine.
Right.
So what you do with that at your table, have fun?
I like it.
Yeah. Continuing on though, within other vampires, on smaller levels, there are various cults that can also be played that also fall into these like tropes and issues within fascism. It's like we were covering cults in depth repeatedly for reasons, guys.
Because they're cool.
They are cool, but also,
cool.
you know, oops.
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't do it.
They're cool like a true crime book.
Yeah, it's like
Not cool in a, I'm gonna do that kind of way. Just to be clear.
You're right.
Yes.
Right.
And even on a lower level, NPCs and player characters can be fascists themselves within your chronicles. I would caution very heavily in that you do a session 0 and you go over lines and veils and make sure people are comfortable with X, Y, and Z things. Because there might be people who don't want to deal with this kind of shit at their game table. And they're like, bro, I just want the break. I just need the break. Please, can we just not?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's valid. And then you get other psychos like me that are like, I want to have Nazis. Let me go. Let me have them. Put them in there.
Nazis.
Put so many in there. I have a Gatling gun. Give.
I want to turn a corner and there'd be a Nazi right there.
Sometimes I'm like, I just want to play Wolfenstein. You know, it's fun. And I would also caution very strongly, make sure that while you are playing complex characters and you can have morally gray character stuff, don't portray the fascist characters in a positive light. You may have characters that like have a redemption arc and they go, oh, wait, I was the baddie. Hold on. Like, I am a monster that eats people to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And I am a petty bitch. But I ain't no Nazi. And there's like, shit, hold on.
Oh, crap.
Yeah. So, that's fine, I think. There might be people who are, like, not as skilled with storytelling. They might accidentally portray something positively. And if you have somebody that's like, hey, isn't this guy kind of cool because he's edgy? And I'm like, no, he's not cool. In fact, can we, like, have a discussion about why the fuck you're doing this? Like, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe don't do that. Hey, John, do you want to read something positive? It's longer, but it's a good noodle. Do you need that throat spray?
Oh, no.
I'm not saying you have to do it. You can,
Squirt it up, baby.
You can not do it. You're free. I told you not to do. You didn't have to.
You're just not a fan of bitter things, I think, is the problem. Not me, though. I like bitter things.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. At the time of writing, the real world is currently inundated with far-right fascist ideologies, being given free rein by well-meaning people who want to preserve civility. If you see people at your table opening up with alt-right talking points, we encourage you to shut that shit down. You are not obligated to tolerate fascists in-game or out of game. This game is a way to tell stories about understanding and perhaps fixing some of the darkness in our own world. Use that to your advantage. That's that's appendix number 3 in Advice for Considerate Play.
It's in the V5 core book. It's in the back of the book.
Hell yes.
It's the core of our game system.
Says it.
Says it right there, black and white, clear as crystal.
Good day, sir.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, because, you know, of the gaming community, there are fucking fascists that will try to say, you know, X, Y, and Z, like, I should be allowed to do this because of what my character would do. I'm like, why are you playing a character like that? If your friends get upsetty spaghetti because you're checking them and they're not actually willing to hit you, like, hear you out and, like, have a discussion, I'm like, maybe reevaluate. I'm not saying throw away the friendship. I was like, maybe you need to, like,
have a couple conversations.
Mm-hmm. Yup.
Just have a quick check-in.
Yeah.
It's important.
And I've had some interactions with folks on Vampire the Masquerade and World of Darkness TikTok recently, and it's been very interesting because I would say 95% of the community is very much like, fuck yeah, this section of the book. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. And then we get a couple of people that come in, they're like, well, I'm still going to play the game, though. And we've just been, like, dunking on them.
Well, that's the point, is to play the game.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, and it's like, oh, so you just came out here with your whole chest and your anime profile pics to tell us that you're a fascist and you're just going to troll us by continuing to play this game? I'm like, good luck building a table, asshole.
Yeah.
I don't know why you made the choice and thought, where did you think this was going? It's very funny. A couple of those guys, I was like, I dare you to come play at my table. Come on, let's go. Come on, show up. I was like, oh, you think you're being brave? And I was like, at least my profile picture is actually my fucking face. My name's on it.
There's nothing weirder to me than people who have extreme beliefs like that, but also really enjoy shows about, like, cute little girls.
Yeah, it's...
Such a bizarre combo to me.
Sus as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, you need to be under the prison. Maybe that was a bit of a hot take. I've been trying really hard not to be super spicy this whole fucking episode. I've been trying real hard. Because it's like, there are folks in our community who have some, like, dumb fuck takes that can be reeled back from the edge. You can be like, hey, you're just kind of being a dumbass, and maybe if you, like, had better community.
Right.
You'd be like, oh, I was being a dumbass. And it's like, you're right. And then there's other people where I'm like, I'm just going to insert the clip from Inglourious Bastards with the baseball bat.
The whole clip?
The whole clip.
Okay, all right.
The whole clip.
The took including?
Yes.
Okay, I like it.
But all of that to say, play is how people practice real-world skills. Consider using gameplay as a way to plan out and practice skills that could be used to confront Nazis in your real life.
Like Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It's just... we are at a time in history and place where it's like, okay, cute time done. We're gonna crack knuckles and it's time to go. But there's also ways that you can play games where you're teaching each other, you know, building community, doing mutual aid, maybe having, you know, various forms of resistance things. There's totally not a sabotage document that's been declassified from the CIA that people should totally look into. It's fine.
That's fun.
It's totally not like there's tons of free material to access on, like, various, you know, anarchist websites or various other things you can look into. That make great plot.
Absolutely good
I
plot,
would even
actually.
I'd actually recommend our bonus episode for Clan Bruja, where I talk about building mutual aid and direct action.
Good for plot.
It's good for plot. And some of that you can use to, like, you know, support your homies.
Yeah.
In
Make
these
plot
trying times.
IRL. Good stuff.
Yeah.
I like that we're just shaking.
We're both
like,
just nodding
shake our
vehemently,
heads.
like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Bake cookies, invite your friends to tabletop games. Maybe even your neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're gonna need each other. Because things are stupid. But
It's gonna get weird for a little bit.
It's gonna get weird, but we got each other. And I'm proud of our listener community for being the fucking psychos
Yes.
that are extraordinarily helpful, though. Just you know, one night the titties are out, and the next night they're just giving each other little pep talks and sharing recipes on how to make chili.
It's beautiful.
It's fucking beautiful.
I do love chili.
and that can get ripped from me from a cold, dead fucking hand.
Come and take my chili. Good luck.
Wait, come and then take the chili? Or at the same time?
I mean, I support people coming.
Depends on who.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are people I would trade chili for cum.
Now,
Smaller group of people being a straight man, but that's not a total zero.
Okay,
I suppose.
okay.
now, is it you coming, or they coming, or both coming for chili?
I think both would be ideal.
Both would be ideal.
Wait, like to the house?
Yeah, for chili.
Okay.
Yeah, like a party.
Yeah.
A chili party.
Chili party.
Oh my god. Where is this going?
Insert stirring chili noises.
Oh my god.
Who's stirring the mac?
It's been so long.
Okay. Do you like mac and cheese in your chili?
No.
Why not?
I'm not that Midwestern.
Oh.
Most people from the Midwest don't even like chili mac. Is one thing I've learned.
I thought that was like an exclusively Midwest thing.
It's mostly, from what I've seen, a Ohio thing.
Fucking Ohio. Yet again.
Wait, I thought that was spaghetti.
Yeah, they put spaghetti and mac.
Okay,
Oh.
can I get a small like debrief diet, like, now that we're winding down from Sarah yelling about fascism? The first time I stayed over at somebody's house and they did the chili spaghetti, I could not process it, like, mentally and emotionally. Because, like, I had a vague idea about Tex-Mex having moved to the U.S.
Sure.
I had shitty white people Tex-Mex for way too long. I thought I did not like Mexican food. Turns out
Mexican food slaps.
Mexican food fucking slaps. It's just like shitty, like Taco Tuesday white people tacos, and not that good.
No, I'll be honest.
And then
white people tacos, that shit kind of hits sometimes.
It does
sometimes.
Sometimes it hits, but usually no. And then it was the spaghetti was not good because it was like, I hate to say weird white people spaghetti where it's like overcooked noodles. But because
it's almost got that, it's rubbery, but it also like falls apart too quick.
Yeah, it was all of it was bad, and it sucks that our boy Luigi has reaffirmed that Italians are not white anymore. So I can make this off-colored comment.
Do you know what's insane about that story?
What?
Apparently, him, Diddy, and 6ix9ine are all on the same cell block right now. Over there.
We gotta get our boy.
If America was still a real country, Comedy Central would already have a sitcom about the three of them on TV right now.
You just know Diddy's pissed. You know he's pissed.
No, an actual news report came out that said that Diddy was pissed that more people on the cell block were excited that Luigi was there than him.
Well, yeah, because Luigi's our boy, and he did nothing wrong. He was at his shift at the pizza place from the random New York City pizzeria that I followed, based on the fact that they had photographic evidence that Luigi was working his shift, spinning that dough. He was slanging that sauce.
I saw him. I saw him there.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you, Paralyze, for the music. They're fantastic. They're great. There's millions of dead cyborgs that make up our theme song. And you should give them money and listens on Bandcamp.
For the sure.
We have us on Instagram at BlankBodiesPod. We still have TikTok. I'm gonna post more. I'm trying.
Great job.
I think a creator that I really like, Jason. I'm gonna look it up so I
make sure you got the right Jason.
This. No, so I make sure I can pronounce the last name right. Jason K. Pargan. He made a real good point. Yes, we all know that, like, this really feels like a really bad advertising campaign about Trump banning it and then saving TikTok. But the ban is in effect. If you actually read what the bill is, the ban did not go away.
No, the ban did not go away.
The ban never said the app had to stop functioning. The ban was for downloading and updating the app. You can no longer download or update the app. The community will slowly die because new people cannot join and say you need to get a new phone. You have now lost all access to TikTok. Say they push an update that you cannot download and you don't know how to manually download updates to your phone. You can no longer use the app. It will slowly die off. The ban is in effect, and it is effective in what it was intending to do at the moment.
Yeah.
So we are there. But...
We are there. We'll see what is going on going forward. It could be it's a law, but it's never enforced because of some weird backroom deal that we don't fucking know about. I don't fucking know. It's weird. I personally have a thing on Red Note, and I'm planning on asking people in China, how do they do TTRPGs?
That's cool.
That would be cool.
I've
mostly just looked at really cute cats, and fucking Red Note clocked me. I'm pretty sure my Chinese spy was like, oh yeah, send Sarah the really hot Chinese guys cooking shirtless. Got so many of those videos. And then I've slowly been getting Chinese rock.
Okay.
It's good, but some of the artists are like a weird mix of Elvis and Avenged Sevenfold.
I believe that.
But it's kind of fantastic.
For some reason, for a second, when you said Chinese rock, my brain went to like the Ramones song.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, you got to the drug users.
If I can, that would be cool. Those are my people.
I feel like there's not going to be a lot on that app.
On that app, no, probably not.
Not openly smoking Chinese rock.
No. But
my brain for some reason went to like one of those accounts that's like the same picture of this rock every single day.
I love those.
I just thought it was like Chinese rock, and it's just a rock somewhere in China that someone posts every day.
But every day we do have a Patreon.
Hey!
Thank you for getting us to our goal. We have new goals because we're trying to keep it pushing for things. I'm upset that the Cumisode we did agree is at the $1,000 tier. God damn it.
That's alongside the Indiana Spooky Tour?
Yes, Indiana World of Darkness Spooky Tour.
Nice.
I want to go on a spooky tour.
Well, they gotta pay us for
H.H. Holmes owned property here.
That'll be part of it.
There's a lot of serial killers that were here at least partial time.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like we're in the serial killer belt. Anyways, if you're a patron, you get to help vote on polls to help us direct the show into things and content that you are interested in.
That's true. There was one last week, there's one this week, and there's another next week. We are getting the year started right. The next clan poll has ended. And I think when this one goes up, this month's bonus episode poll will be up, and then after that you'll get a whole nother damn
poll, because we actually believe in democracy.
Polls.
Yeah, and there's also tiers of things for the community Discord. Come hang out in the community Discord. We got lovely people that run games and hang out and stream stuff and work with each other on building lore and stuff, and I guess people are now thirst posting on Thursdays. So if you have a body and you want to share, you can do that. John is upset.
I'm not upset. I'm just face palming.
Just like, why are you encouraging this? I'm like, I support people feeling confident in themselves, and I want our listeners to fuck. And I want... I like the idea of our community of being people that everybody knows. If you're into fucking, oh yes, you can. I believe in you. And look... Look, the serotonins are real thin on the streets, man. I'm grasping at straws, man. I'm trying. I appreciate the degeneracy that exists amongst each other.
Hell yeah.
That's how we're gonna defeat fascism, guys. We're all just gonna jerk it separately. End this fucking episode,
how am I supposed
please.
to kiss us out after that? Like, hey, everybody, jerk it.
Yeah, there you go. Cut. Print.
Gross.
Cut. Print. Hunter, let us escape.
Okay, I was enjoying it, but bye, I guess.
Bye.